So I saw the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and it was pretty good. So I was going to talk a little bit about it. One of the big problems people seem to have is Zack Snyder himself. You know, he's got his directorial style seems very influenced by things like libertarianism, American libertarianism in particular. And he's got, you know, stuff in his back catalog like 300, which, you know, has a lot of problems, but is a relatively faithful adaptation of its source material, and is also visually really good. And that's something that Snyder does really well, is visually he's really good. As far as storytelling goes, you know, definitely not for everybody, but I think a lot of people sort of judge his superhero movies a little unfairly, and this is because it's been made pretty clear since the beginning that he's going for an arc for these characters that's going to last several movies. So yeah, the Superman that we get in Man of Steel isn't the exact Superman that we're used to, but like the whole point is that we're going to see him grow into the Superman that we're used to. Same with the Batman that we get in Batman versus Superman. A lot of people complained that that's not really Batman, and they talked about things like the guns on the Batmobile. And while I can understand their criticism from the outside, if I had no other knowledge, the fact is the Batmobile has had guns on it in just about every movie adaptation there's been, and these guys weren't complaining at the time. Batman uses his Batmobile guns and missiles to blow up a building in the 1989 movie, and that's considered a masterpiece. I think a lot of people sort of forget that in some ways Tim Burton sort of reinvented Batman, and that had a huge influence on where the comics went. We had the Dark Knight Returns shortly before that, and that was giving us the darker, grittier future Batman. But it really, it really came through the pop culture, the public consciousness once that movie came out. And with, Zack Snyder's Justice League, he's not really reinventing any of the characters any more than any comic book movie has to this date. Really, when you consider some of the ridiculous Elseworld stories that are out there, this isn't too far from the mark. This isn't any weirder or out of character than something like, let's say, Injustice. And with the just goddamn ridiculousness of something like Metal. And, I don't personally have anything against Metal. I didn't really get super into it, though, because every story has to have Batman at the center of it, and I'm good on Batman. I don't need a Batman story in every single story that's being told ever. I can seek out more Batman on my own. He doesn't need to be crammed into everything. That's off topic, though. I have strong feelings about that. Anyway, yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League does a good job. It tells a complete story. I think there are some pacing issues, but I'm not going to complain about the 4-hour runtime. A lot of motherfuckers on the internet are complaining about the 4-hour runtime, and they'll binge 6 episodes of a 1-hour series. But 4 hours of one story that's already broken up into 6 parts, that's too much for them. Fuck you. Goddamn fucking lunatics. Bunch of bullshit, you ask me. Don't complain about the runtime of a movie if you've ever binged a TV show. It's telling a very complete story, except for, the end, which I'm not going to spoil. I would love to see a continuation of just like a one-shot graphic novel. Because the thing with the Snyder Cut is I was never super adamant about them releasing it. I always believe that, a director should be able to get their vision out there if they've been hired for a project. I was a big supporter of the Richard Donner cut for Superman 2, which was a similar but not exactly the same kind of situation. But with Zack Snyder, I was like, yeah, Zack Snyder sort of had this movie taken away from him that he put all this work into. He should be able to show everybody what he was trying to do. But at the same time, I wasn't marching in the streets for it or anything. I just thought it was kind of cool that they finally let him make his movie. And it turned out pretty good. But there was a whole bunch of plans in the works. And regardless of it turning out pretty good, those plans are long canceled years ago. So where he was going with the story, I would like to know. I'd like to see some kind of resolution to that, since there was a grand plan, and it's not going to happen. So it would be interesting to see where it goes. Anyway, if you are a hardcore Batman fan and you super disagree with anything that's going on in the Snyder Cut, I invite you to read comics and go fuck yourself. If you're a really hardcore Superman fan, I'll remind you of all the many times in history, the past 100 years, that Superman has turned evil or taken over the world. This is no more ridiculous or out of character than anything that has happened in comic books. Even if we were to ignore the entirety of the Silver Age, we've had plenty of stories like this. So that's not the criticism that you should go with. Go with the criticism that humanity was tasked with guarding a mother box, and they buried it in a grave more shallow than the one I buried my dead cat in. Seems like that's not the best way to do it. Of course, maybe I'm completely wrong, because that's still the last one to be found, but I have a feeling it was found because the Nazis found it first, and maybe the Nazis would have had a harder time if you had dug the grave 6 feet instead of 3. I don't know. What do I fucking know? Nothing. That's right. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Like, share, and subscribe if you're so inclined. You get that bell notification icon that tells you when I put out new content. I assume it does. I've clicked that on a bunch of other YouTubers, and I don't get an email or anything. It waits till I sign into YouTube. And YouTube, that's why I'm here, is to look at fucking videos. So I'm already gonna check. I don't know. I'm not good at technology sometimes. I'm sure y'all are better at it, which means you know what to do if you want to see more of my stuff. Anyway, I love you. Goodbye.